Do you have overheating issues with your PT Cruiser? Check the brakes, it might be the culprit. Hello and welcome to How to Helen, where you learn something different every day. This is something that you can never learn in school, and you will only learn this through experience. And we want to share this to other PT Cruiser owners who also have an overheating issue that they cannot solve. So long story short, this 2002 Chrysler PT Cruiser is overheating because of a jammed front brake piston, not because there's anything wrong with the cooling system. Let me go over what we've done to this cooling system to show you that there's nothing wrong with it, but the brake piston is jamming up. The previous owner had the timing belt done and the water pump twice because he thought that the first water pump was defective, so he had it replaced again, but it was still overheating. Now I've checked the fans, they're working properly. I've checked the radiator, I flushed it twice already, and they're clean and free flowing. And right now I have the thermostat off, so you can see when I start the car that it is flowing smoothly without any obstruction. Let me start it right now. And as you can see, even though the coolant is dirty, the water pump is moving the coolant around the system. That means that there's no issue with the water pump. Here's what else helped me figure out the overheating issue. The last time I overheated with this car, while waiting, I decided to check the tire pressures. Now, on this front driver's side tire, the rims felt very hot, like it was scorching hot, while all the other three tires were cool. So that means that this was overheating very badly. The next thing is there's a dent on this rim. Now, I brought this tire to a tire shop to have the dent fixed. Then they told me that they can't do it because this part of the rim is plastic. So they can't refix it or rebend it because it's gonna crack. Now, the only reason that plastic will bend like this is if it melted. So that means this tire is getting super hot and it is melting the rim. And lastly, something that I didn't think about it back then, when I was test driving this car and it was in the previous owner's driveway, the driveway was slanting down and I put it in neutral and it didn't roll off the driveway. I was thinking that maybe there was a hill assist technology on this vehicle, but later I realized that this is too old to have hill assist. So that means that one of the brake pistons or one of the brakes are locking up, which led me to this tire. So this tire is actually locking up and it is causing a drag for the engine, causing it to overheat. So that is what's causing this car to overheat. Now we're gonna check the brake piston on this side of the tire, and if we can't fix it, we're just gonna completely replace it. Just to clarify on the rim bend is only on the outer part. The inner part of the rim is still round. So it is only this part that melted, which is where it turns into plastic. Then another thing I forgot to mention is the center cap is slightly out because it has melted and the plastic has expanded, causing it to move out of its position. So it is out compared to the other center caps. Spray some WD-40 and let it soak for a while.
Three days later.
Okay, now that it has soaked for a while, let's remove these two 12mm bolts that holds the piston in place. As you can see, one of the wires, I guess, melted when it was overheating. So we're just gonna take the cover of this off, the rubber cover, then remount it here. Everything seems to be working fine. Okay, I don't see anything that would have caused it to lock up, or maybe from driving it, it decided to finally loosen up and release from the brakes. But definitely this was getting super warm or super hot when I was touching it when I overheated. So I know there was something wrong with this side of the brake caliper or brake piston. So what we're gonna do is just clean it up and put it back together. To test, I'm gonna retract the piston to make sure that it moves freely. As you can see, it retracted back to the piston. So it seems to be good now. But like I said, I suspect that this piston was stuck in the lock position. That's why it was causing this to overheat and strain the engine, causing it to further overheat. So we're gonna put it in and try the brakes a few times just to make sure that it doesn't lock up again. Okay, I'm gonna start the car and I aim the camera on the window for the brakes so we can see if it's moving back and forth when I press and release the brakes. Just to be sure that it's already releasing. Well, as you can see, the symptom was camera shy because it didn't want to show up on camera. Because as you could see, the brake piston was moving freely and we didn't find any problems. But I assure you, when the wheel was installed and when I was overheating, this tire was super hot, unlike the other three, which was super cold. So the best you can do is just clean it up, hope that it doesn't happen again. So let's reinstall the slider bolts. But before you install it, put some tread locker to help it hold in place. Just a little dab. Torque these two bolts to 26 foot-pounds. Next, don't forget to reinstall the broken wire, which is supposed to be here. As a precaution, I bought this wireless tire pressure monitor system for this vehicle. Generally, what this does is monitor each tire's pressure by putting a monitor on the valve stem. You just twist it on the valve and it should monitor the tire pressure. Now, in addition to the tire pressure, this also has a monitor for the temperature on each tire. For this one, it says it's 78 degrees Fahrenheit right now. So I'm gonna put all the other tire pressure monitors so you can see how it works. Okay, as you can see, these are the tire pressures for each individual tire. And the left front is 21 only, that's why it's blinking. It needs additional air. Now, these outer numbers are the temperature on each tire. So now I can monitor later on if this tire again goes hot. I know that the brakes are sticking, and that means the problem came back. I'm going to make a separate video for this wireless tire pressure monitor system in the future. But for now, it's going to help me troubleshoot if the brake caliper or brake piston is still sticking on this car. I was ready to replace a brake piston on camera, but fortunately or unfortunately, the brake piston started to unstick and it was working fine now. So we didn't have to. But I still suggest people, especially with PT Cruisers, to buy a wireless tire pressure monitor system. It will at least help you monitor the pressures on your tires, at the same time the temperature on each tire. So you would know if one of those brake pistons starts to stick and it's giving you drag on your car, causing it to overheat like what happened to my car. So hopefully this helps someone out there, especially PT Cruiser owners who always have overheating issues. And that is how I figured out the overheating issue on this 2002 Chrysler PT Cruiser. This has been another episode of How to Helen. My name's Arjef, and thank you for watching.